carrying the flame. Act I. Shadows of dusk. The hospital hallway was steeped in shadows, sunset casting long fingers through the windows, warming the sterile floors that stretched in both directions. Seemingly endless and uneasy quiet reigned, broken by distant machine hums and nurses' muffled conversations that flowed in undertones. Like a river of subdued emotion, Sam sat in a plastic chair, hands clasped, knuckles white, the weight of familial estrangement etched into his haggard face, each line a testament to time and unspoken hurt. An old clock ticked audibly on the wall, marking time's relentless passage, each second a reminder of moments lost. Winter's cold breath gusted against the windows, rattling them with a force that mirrored the chill within Sam's heart. Frost-glazed streets lay in stark silence, appearing as deserted as his spirit felt his mind replayed the argument with his estranged brother, Jordan. The shouted words, the slammed door. Years had passed since they last spoke, harsh words still echoing vividly as if spoken moments ago. Now Jordan lay somewhere beyond those walls, clinging tenuously to life. Sam's heart ached with deep regret, a heavy stone lodged in his chest. In a moment of honesty, he whispered, voice low, "Lord of mercy, help me. I don't know how to do this alone." A nurse passed, her heels clicking softly, a whisper on the polished floor. Her brief, compassionate gaze met Sam's, offering an unspoken assurance that grace was nearer than it felt. A reminder of humanity in a place defined by its clinical detachment. She moved gracefully down the corridor, leaving a trail of hope in her wake. Candle in the hallway. Night wrapped the world outside in a deep indigo cloak. The hospital a bright island in shadows, Sam stood, the act feeling monumental, like lifting a heavy burden from shoulders weary of carrying the past. Needing to move, he wandered the hallway, fluorescent lights casting a cold glow on sterile walls adorned with faded art, a poor substitute for warmth and comfort. The walls seemed to close in, pressing with unspoken fears and silent prayers, each step echoing lonely in the quiet. "Shepherd of my soul," Sam whispered, leaning against the wall, the cool surface grounding him amidst swirling thoughts. How did we drift so far apart? Show me the way back to him, if it's not too late. His prayer was a plea from the very depths of his being, seeking solid ground, reaching for something transcendent, something only God could provide. As he prayed, warmth bloomed slowly in his chest, tentative but persistent, like spring's first wildflower breaking through winter's hold. Compelled to reach out, he sensed an encouraging nudge, reassuring and steady, a whisper of assurance that he was not alone in this journey toward reconciliation. Sparks of renewal. Sam's phone, a cold rectangle in his hand, felt both fragile and powerful, a lifeline and a barrier. His trembling fingers scrolled to Jordan's name. A simple entry weighted with years and memories, the embodiment of both past pain and potential healing. Fear whispered it was too late, that forgiveness was unreachable, a bridge too burned to ever cross again. But warmth flared within, urging him on like a flame kindled by hope, an ember refusing to be snuffed out. He pressed call, breath hitching as the line connected, each ring echoing like a heartbeat, rhythmic with his chest's frantic drumming. Then Jordan's voice, frail yet familiar, emerged like an old melody rediscovered after a long silence, harmonizing with Sam's longing for redemption. Words rushed forth, apologies, explanations, tumbling over each other in their haste to mend what was broken. Sam's heart softened, his voice cracking, seeking forgiveness he felt unworthy to ask for, yet desperately needed. In those moments, past grievances melted away like autumn leaves in a gentle wind. their brittle sharpness giving way to the soft earth below. Their conversation became a prayer, a shared surrender, a step toward healing that had seemed impossible only hours before. Silence followed, rich and full, a sacred space where hearts met anew, unburdened by yesterday. Holy One, who guides us through the night and into light, grant us the courage to seek forgiveness and offer it freely. Help us to mend what is broken, to carry a flame for the lost, and to find peace in your gentle presence. Amen. Bread of life. Haktai, the bakery before dawn. At 4 a.m., in the gentle patter of rain, Samuel Alvarez moved like a shadow through his bakery, a warm sanctuary hidden from the slumbering world. The air was thick with dough rising, flowers settling like snow on every surface. The dim hum of the refrigerator was a soothing counterpoint to the pre-dawn stillness. Samuel's breaths formed clouds mingling into the darkness, a physical manifestation of whispered prayers. The bakery's lamp flickered, casting a honeyed glow over tables worn smooth by time. This was Samuel's haven, where labor became contemplation. Kneeling before the wooden counter, he bowed his head. His fingers, dusted with flour, clasped in earnest supplication. "Lord of mercy," he whispered, "I am afraid. Business is slow. Debts are high. Guide me, for I am lost." The silence was sacred as Samuel listened, hoping for divine guidance. The rain mirrored his uncertainty, yet an imperceptible reassurance settled within. "Do not fear. I am with you." This promise anchored him. Hours slipped by like sand, each marked by shaping dough, a practice like an offering. The bakery pulsed with life, the aroma of fresh bread inviting passers-by. Samuel shaped each loaf with care, imprinting silent prayers for the day. The dawn light bathed the bread in warmth, echoing the blessings he sought. Maria, the neighboring bakery owner and his fiercest competitor, appeared. Her bakery thrived while his struggled today. She entered soaked from the rain, worry etched in her face. Her presence was both a challenge and a reminder of professional solidarity. Samuel felt a nudge, a divine call for compassion. "Holy One," he prayed silently, "grant me courage to love." An unexpected offering. With a heart softened by prayer, Samuel offered Maria a basket of fresh bread. Steam rose gently, carrying hope and generosity. "Please," he said, "take some." Maria, surprised by his kindness, hesitated, yet Samuel's sincerity stirred something in her heart. Tears mingled with rain on her cheeks, glistening in the light, a testament to burdens eased by grace. "Thank you, Samuel," she whispered, acknowledging a bond forged through shared humanity. Amidst the exchange, peace settled over Samuel, as if God whispered hope into his soul. The moment was its own prayer, a testament to grace in action. Divine transformation. As the sun climbed, the bakery welcomed patrons' conversation, laughter, and shared moments flowed into Samuel's spirit like a balm. The day's hustle brought vigor, his heart lightened by sharing customers lingered, drawn by the bread's aroma and the atmosphere of kindness. Maria returned that afternoon, offering her own loaf a token of solidarity. She promised help with his debts, a lifeline woven from shared humanity. In giving, Samuel received more than he offered, a miracle breathing life into his venture. Together, they stood testament to faith and fellowship. Dear shepherd of my soul, thank you for strength in fear. May I find courage in your presence, see your hand in every grace. Surround me with your light, guide my path. Amen. Answer, dawn's whisper. The morning air is crisp and full of promise as I navigate the winding mountain road in my old car. The sun peeks over the horizon, casting amber light through long shadows, painting the landscape with hope and uncertainty. The soft hues of dawn flicker on the windshield, a symphony of colors dancing across the sky. Each turn of the wheel feels like a heartbeat, echoing my own anticipation. Beside me, the envelope in my pocket is heavy with words unsent. Words that speak of a father's absence, of wounds too tender to touch, of longing veiled in pride, and an aching need for reconciliation. I pull over at a bend, where the road stills and the earth breathes in anticipation. Stepping out, I am greeted by a gentle breeze that carries the scent of pine and earth. The valley below is bathed in light, a canvas brushed with the hand of God. The mountains stand like sentinels, silent witnesses to a history I cannot change but hope to mend. There, on a blanket of wildflowers just waking from their slumber, I kneel on the cold stone, feeling its roughness seep into my bones, grounding me in this sacred moment. Lord of mercy, I begin. My voice wavering in the solitude. I am lost and weary. Guide me to what is right. The silence that follows is not empty, but full of expectation, of unseen threads weaving a tapestry I cannot yet see. I close my eyes, letting the silence seep into my very soul. The wind whispers through the pines, and in that sacred murmur, I sense an urging. Answer the call without delay. The mountain itself seems to echo this divine message, as if creation is conspiring to guide me toward forgiveness and healing. Act 2. Shadows of Doubt is not empty, but full of expectation, of unseen threads weaving a tapestry I cannot yet see. I close my eyes, letting the silence seep into my very soul. The wind whispers through the pines, and in that sacred murmur, I sense an urging. Answer the call without delay. The mountain itself seems to echo this divine message, as if creation is conspiring to guide me toward forgiveness and healing. Act 2. Shadows of Doubt. Dusk drapes the village in hues of orange and pink, and the lights dotting windows become celestial eyes, watching over me as I approach the house. It's smaller now, more intimate under this waning light.
Each creak of the wooden floor echoing with the nostalgia of childhood. I pause at the threshold, inhaling deeply the familiar scent of old wood and lavender, reminders of a simpler time. I sit at a wooden table, the letter unfolded before me, a testament to my hesitations. My heart is a storm, my mind a restless sea, battling the urge to retreat into familiar grievances. Each word on the paper feels like a weight, the ink a river of unspoken sorrows. I find myself praying again, this time in subdued desperation. Shepherd of my soul, lead me through this valley. I am afraid of what awaits beyond my safe cocoon. I look around the room, the fading sunlight casting shadows that dance like specters of the past. Echoes of laughter, whispered secrets, and the warmth of togetherness. The room flickers as the sun dips lower, casting an amber glow that warms my skin and my resolve. In the penumbra, a quiet peace settles. It fills the room, wrapping me in a sense of comfort that feels almost like a physical embrace. It's a nudge, an insistence that the time for fear is past, that beyond the hesitance lies a new beginning. I sense God's guidance as a gentle prod within, whispering courage into my trembling resolve. The shadows flee as a soft assurance fills the space, a whisper of divine presence that calls me to be bold. Answering the call echoes through the receiver, stretching endlessly, each ring a heartbeat holding time still, until a familiar voice pulls me back. My father's voice, distant yet unmistakably his. The sound is like a melody familiar yet long forgotten, resonating in the chambers of my heart. There's a beat, a chance to retreat, but instead I inhale deeply and speak the words that elude the letter. Hello, Dad. It's been a long time. There's silence, the kind thick with unspoken regret and glimmers of hope. I almost falter. My hand grips the phone like a lifeline, tethering me to courage. But the voice of the Holy One, warm and patient, holds me steady. I imagine Jesus standing by my side, his hand on my shoulder, whispering strength into my spirit. With each word spoken, a bond is reforged, one that had weathered too many winters apart. In this exchange, I find reconciliation not just with my father, but within myself. The act of reaching out is transforming, a testament to the power of surrender, of choosing love over lingering shadows. Every word we share is an unraveling, a binding and a healing, a step into the light. It's as if the distance of years is collapsing, moment by moment, with each earnest word. Lord of mercy, guide my steps with grace in moments of doubt. Grant me your courage, help me to live in your light, answering your call. Teach me to forgive as you have. vast expanse of sky and deep, orange and fervent red, casting elongated shadows across the cracked, worn asphalt. I stand beside my truck at a secluded rest stop, a place ensconced in solitude. My truck, a metal giant and steadfast companion, stands silent, mirroring the growing silence within me. The cool evening air wraps around me, whispers secrets through the rustling of nearby trees, mingling the scents of pine and diesel, a reminder of a life that's constantly in motion. My gaze drifts upwards to the vast, boundless sky, where timid stars begin to puncture the twilight, distant promises of something greater than the endless miles I've traveled. In the quiet of this moment, I wrestle with the reality of running on empty, not just in the fuel tanks of my old rig, but in the well of my soul. The load I carry is more burdensome than anything strapped to my truck, a weight born from missteps and regrets, a compilation of unattended hurts. The distance between me and my daughter feels far longer than any highway, a chasm filled with unspoken words and withered apologies. As dust settles deeper over the landscape, I find myself falling to my knees beside the truck, the gravel biting through my jeans, mirroring the ache in my heart. Lord of mercy, I whisper, my voice a fragile tremble. I'm lost in this darkness. I need to forgive myself first, but I don't know how. Guide me, please. The sky becomes an inky canvas, vast and peppered with countless constellations that flicker above me, distant yet present, like the eternal witnesses to my plea. In this solitude, a presence as soft as the breeze envelops me, a divine whisper saying, start where apologies begin. I remain kneeling, grounded by the firmness of the earth. The hum of passing cars plays in the background, their headlights streaking like beacons of hope across an otherwise dark path. The air thickens with the first hints of impending rain. It mingles with earth and exhaust, reminders of life's beauty and grime. Holy One, I continue, tears mingling with raindrops as if the heavens too weep. Help me find peace, show me the road back to her heart. In the profound silence of the night, warmth suddenly blooms in my chest, a gentle nudge towards something true. as if the shepherd of my soul guides me onto a path I've strayed from for too long. Hope gathers like dawn's first light on the horizon of my heart. A call under starshine. I rise from prayer, the gravel leaving small imprints on my knees, a mark of surrender to something far greater than myself. The decision to act forms with a grace-filled clarity as the rain slackens, leaving behind a fresh scent that speaks of new beginnings. The time to reach out has arrived, a divine urging wrapped in the quiet certainty that only faith can provide. With trembling hands, I retrieve my phone from my coat pocket. Its screen harsh against the night sky. Her number is dialed from memory, a comforting but daunting cadence echoing with familiarity. As I wait, each ring echoes like a heartbeat in the stillness, and I offer a silent prayer filled with courage and humility. Her voice, tender and soft, answers the call, Dad. That single word opens a pathway, illuminated by my earlier prayers. I stumble for words, knowing only that I must speak from the heart. Darling, it's me. I begin, my words tumbling out like a river breaking its dam. I've been carrying this burden, and I realize I need to ask for your forgiveness. But first, to forgive myself. My voice cracks under the weight of vulnerability, but the Holy One steadies me with unseen hands. Can we try again? Shadow.
The hospital night held a sacred quiet, rain tapping softly against the large, glazed windows, tracing languid rivulets in the glow of the distant streetlights. The polished floor mirrored faint reflections of those passing by. A subtle dance of light and shadow. Alex sat slumped in a chair, face buried in his hands, the contours of his shoulders heavy with the weight of his world. His heart churned with a tempest of anxiety, a maelstrom of fear and uncertainty. Yet, the air around him carried a sterile hope, a promise of rebirth, echoing with the faint beeping of machines that stood as silent sentinels to life. Nearby, a warm lamp stood sentinel, casting a soft, gentle light over his turmoil. To Alex, it was a tender hand resting on his shoulder, offering a sliver of comfort in the engulfing shadows. He glanced at the lamp, seeking solace, took a deep breath and closed his eyes, retreating within himself to find peace. His heart whispered prayers, earnest and raw, a plea rising from the depths of his soul to the open heavens.
God, Lord of mercy, his heart cried, I feel lost and afraid, please guide me.
Across the hall, Nurse Sarah moved quietly, her gentle steps barely audible in the enveloping stillness. Her compassionate eyes met his, a silent acknowledgement of his struggle. Her presence, a soft assurance in the solitary vigil.
silently reminding him that he was not alone. A gentle revelation, time unfurled with the rain's gentle serenade against the window panes. The clock's slow hands ticked in concert with Alex's anxious heartbeat. Each second measured in breaths rather than time, a comforting memory emerged from the turbulent depths. A verse from Psalm 23, like a life preserver tossed into stormy waters. The lamp flickered slightly, its warm glow enveloping him in a cocoon of golden light. Within, Alex felt a divine whisper coursing through the tendrils of his troubled heart, softening and guiding him. He straightened in his seat, his breathing even, a realization dawning. The call to defend truth, but with kindness, was his path forward. He eyed his phone, its screen dark and foreboding, yet courage blossomed in the faint reflection of his own eyes. He prepared for a momentous prayer, a conversation with God that would fortify his soul. Shepherd of my soul, I give you my fears, he whispered, his voice barely more than a breath, weaving faith and hope around his heart. Grant me courage to reconcile, to speak truth with love. Help me to reach out in humility. The atmosphere shifted imperceptibly, the air growing thick with promise and possibility. As Sarah passed by with a soft smile, it was a reminder of unseen acts of grace fluttering just beyond sight, ready to alight in their own time. With courage as his armor, Alex dialed a number he'd long avoided, his fingers lingering over each digit, embedding them with silent prayers. The ring resonated in his ear, each tone matching the anxious rhythm of his heart. The phone's cool metal served as an anchor, grounding him as he prepared to step out in faith. Hey, it's me, he began softly, his voice trembling yet sincere, each word a digital prayer sent across the silent waves. I'm sorry for the silence, I want to make things right. The unfolding conversation held its challenges, terrain rough and uncertain. Yet words were carefully weighed, each syllable laying a stone in the rebuilding of a long crumbled bridge. As the call concluded, Alex felt a lightness unfurl within him, a burden lifted by grace, freeing him from the chains he'd carried for too long. Outside, the rain softened to whisper, as if blessing the renewed bond in its gentle cadence. In the warm, forgiving glow of the lamp, Alex felt transformed by prayer. Hope and love rekindled in the silent vigil of the night. Thank you for guiding my steps. Help me to carry your light into the world, to defend truth, but with the grace of kindness. Keep my heart open to your whispers of wisdom, and guide us all. slip behind the rugged mountains, leaving the sky a canvas of gold and crimson. Before shadows cloak the winding road, my old truck, a relic of simpler times, sputtered to a halt on the gravel shoulder. Through the window, the last colors of the day melted into night. The letter in my coat pocket felt heavy, a secret kept too long, a confession to my father that fear and regret had held captive. Stepping into the evening chill, the air scented with pine and earth, my feet found a trail up the hillside. Each step echoed the distance I felt from those I loved. Lord of mercy, I whispered, I'm lost. Do I send this letter? Let silence swallow it. The wind rustled the trees, whispering back assurance, a gentle touch to my troubled soul. The echo of prayer. The trail led higher into the wilderness until I reached a rocky outcrop under a starlit sky. The stars scattered like jewels, cast a silvery glow. I knelt, the stones biting into my knees, and opened my heart in raw, unfiltered prayer. Holy One, I breathed, I fear rejection. Grant me the courage to reconcile. A warmth unfurled within, the whisper of God's presence, kindling like a flame in this sacred silence. I could almost see my father's face, aged yet softened by love. It became clear I must reach out and let go of secrets to unburden my heart. A resolution formed, urging me forward like a shepherd, guiding a lost sheep. A call across the distance, the descent to my truck was deliberate, each step measured by newfound courage. The chill hung on my limbs, but inside was a flicker of hope. I slid into the driver's seat and retrieved my phone. The letter could wait, I needed his voice. Trembling fingers dialed his number, each ring an echo of my anxious heartbeat. When he answered, his voice was a mix of surprise and warmth. Son, I took a deep breath, drawing courage from the very air. Father, I began, my voice growing stronger with each word. I'm sorry, I wanna come home, if you'll have me. Silence hung briefly, then his response came, soft and sure. The doors have always been open, my son. As we spoke, words of forgiveness and understanding flowed freely. The burden of hidden words melted away, replaced by a lightness like dawn chasing the night. Thank you for guiding me through shadows and silence. Grant me courage to reconcile, to speak truth wrapped in love. Let your light shine through my renewed path, guiding me home. Amen. Clothe the cold in winter. Act I, shadows of need. The classroom buzzes with youthful chatter, a symphony of laughter and secrets. Each voice carries a piece of a story, a thread in life's tapestry. I steady my hand on the chalkboard, feeling its resistance as the chalk snaps. Much like my own spirit on the brink of breaking, the sun dips behind the horizon, its golden hue casting long shadows across the floor, brushing the faded walls with twilight's touch. The heater's hum is a futile guardian against the cold seeping through the building, wrapping around me as my gaze finds Lena in the corner, her coat worn thin. Whispers of prayers I utter nightly, yearning for hope amid frayed dreams. The bell tolls, dispersing the crowd into silence. The classroom, once alive, now rests in peaceful stillness. I linger in this sacred pause, touching my forehead to the cool slate, whispering, Lord of mercy, guide my steps. Show me how to help, I feel so small. The walls absorb my plea, the air holding its breath. Within me, an answer resonates. Clothe the cold. It ignites a candle within, a flicker of hope in the threatening shadows. Dusk claims the world. Shadows tracing the tile floor's lines, mysteries only night deciphers. I leave the door ajar, a silent invitation to those seeking sanctuary from my bag. I extract a sandwich wrapped in wax paper and a polished apple, humble offerings of sustenance and love. Each act, an unspoken prayer, plants seeds of kindness at Lena's desk. Holy Shepherd, I whisper into the room's quiet sanctuary. Bless this child. May she find comfort in unexpected places. Silence envelops me, broken only by the wind's whispers against the panes. The mingled scents of chalk and evening meals stir memories of warmth, family, and hope. As I gather my things to leave, the door nudges open, barely a sigh. Lena steps in, cheeks kissed by the cold, eyes searching. She spots the meal in her desk, her fingers brushing the apple's smooth surface. Surprise blooms in her smile, a fragile hope in her winter world. She glances my way, her eyes echoing my unspoken prayer. In the stillness, I offer another prayer, a thread of courage cast into the void. Lord, make me brave enough to love as you love. Her silent gratitude speaks volumes as she clutches the apple like the sun itself. In this shared moment, I understand the power of compassion, a love lived through action, touch, and exchange of warmth and understanding. This moment ignites a desire to do more, to be more, to reveal God's love's invisible threads, light in the cold. The walk home is crisp, each breath a visible cloud, each step a whisper against the night's chill. Yet within me burns a lightness, a clarity guiding me home, illuminating my path like street lamps awaken along the road. I resolve that tomorrow will herald a call to action. I'll gather the students, uniting them in a project of heart, a coat collection for those like Lena, needing warmth and assurance they are not alone. Our prayers will unite, our actions testify to a shared vision of love woven into our lives, the lingering echo of God's voice. Clothe cold, reassures me. His presence is in each gesture, each coat given, each life touched by kindness.
Holy One, guide my heart to see your children in need. Grant me courage to act, to share warmth in cold times. May your love be my constant counsel. May my life honor your call. Shelter those who shiver, cloak them in your grace and peace. Amen.
And light in the ashes. Acti. After the flames. Underneath a twilight sky of orange and violet, the warmth of the fire clung to my smoke-stained jacket. As I stepped away from the smoldering ruin, the charred skeleton of the house stood silhouetted against the setting sun, its vibrant walls reduced to memories, now entwined with the night. Shadows stretched across the pavement, embracing the remnants of the home, whispering elegies for what once was. The chill of autumn settled in, mingling with the acrid scent of singed timber, suffusing each breath with a reminder of loss.
As my boots crunched on the gravel, a brittle symphony beneath the silence, I noticed a singed piece of paper fluttering against the curb. It was a child's drawing, slightly charred at the edges, yet vibrant with its bright stick figures under a smiling sun. My heart clenched at the innocence preserved amidst devastation, a flicker of color in a world momentarily consumed by ash. Inside the fire truck, away from the smoldering ashes, I closed my eyes and leaned back against the seat's worn leather. The engine's hum beneath me felt distant, a muted whisper over the turmoil within. In that sacred solitude, I began to pray, seeking refuge in divine solace. Lord of mercy, I murmured, help me carry this burden. I feel lost in this sea of guilt. The words streamed forth, unraveling the tight knots of despair, binding my spirit. I waited then, listening to whispers of peace that touched my spirit like a healing balm in the twilight. Out shadows of guilt. As dusk deepened, the orange glow of windows flickered to life in neighboring houses, their warmth contrasting with the hollow ache within. Survivor guilt clung to my spirit tighter than the smoke lingering in my clothes, each breath a reminder of those I couldn't save. I wandered through the autumn chill, feet shuffling along the leaf-strewn path, a hollow echo of lament. In shop window reflections I saw not just myself, but the faces of those I couldn't save. Their eyes lingered, imploring, seeking solace. I found my way to a park bench, cool and damp beneath me. Surrendering to the encroaching night, I clasped my hands and bowed my head in prayer. Holy One, light my path through this darkness. Show me how to release this guilt, to be a beacon for others rather than a bearer of shadows. The call to action. The answer came as a gentle nudge, a reminder that even amid loss, there's potential for new beginnings. A clear image unfurled in my mind, promising us spring buds on the cusp of bloom. The child's drawing, with its simplicity, reminded me of a truth. The light within us shouldn't be hidden, even when the world feels dark. Returning home, I laid the drawing on the table, its vivid colors a promise renewed. In that sacred space, an unfamiliar warmth spread through me, a call to action, humming with divine purpose. I knew I needed to share these experiences, this journey through fire and redemption, with those needing hope. The Lord, shepherd of my soul, was guiding me towards a new mission, a brighter purpose forged from the ashes. Rekindling the light, compelled by newfound clarity, I organized a community gathering, envisioning a sanctuary for those touched by fire and lost to share, heal and kindle their inner light. The community center, a modest building at the heart of town, bustled with intention, a whisper that grew as neighbors trickled in. As I spoke of my journey through darkness, I watched flickers of understanding and courage illuminate the faces around me, their eyes reflecting an inner light. We prayed together, a symphony of whispered hopes rising into the night. Our collective faith igniting a warmth that defied the autumn chill. Candles flickered, casting gentle halos, reflecting the healing light in our souls. I felt the shift within me, a transformation born from surrender and trust. The shadow of guilt diminished, replaced by a steadfast resolve to let my light shine, illuminating the path for others. Each prayer shared, each story recounted, wove a tapestry of resilience and hope, binding us in communal faith. Lord of all creation, guide my steps to walk in your light, to be a big dawn breaks over the mountain road. sky painted in soft hues by the divine artist. A breeze stirs the willows, their branches reaching skyward in silent supplication. My breath forms clouds in the brisk winter air, each a fleeting prayer. I hold a worn yellowed letter, a relic of unsent words and unvoiced confessions to a father I barely knew. The cold seeps through my coat as I tread a path flanked by skeletal trees. My pulse echoes in the stillness, a reminder of life's rhythm. I pause to gaze at the letter close to my heart. Its pages are stained with ink, words heavy with the weight I've carried too long. The wind whispers through the trees, urging me forward, but hesitation roots me, kneeling on the roadside's cold stone. I bow my head, Lord of mercy, I whisper, guide me through these shadows. In the thickened stillness I sense hope, a whisper of heaven's promise for healing. The frosted path crunches softly with each step, the silent forest crackles with ice, and a distant bird's call. In this quiet I find an ancient chapel, its door creaks open, beckoning me into the warm glow of flickering candles. Their light sings silent hymns, echoing past prayers, each flame a tribute to enduring faith. On a rough bench I let the warmth seep into my bones. I unfurl the letter and press my hands together. Shepherd of my soul, I whisper, I am lost, help me let go. My heart listens in the hush, sensing a thread of grace weaving through fear. In stillness I glimpse an unspoken promise, a reminder of love's healing power, the turning call. Strengthened I step outside, the sun now spills golden light, a heavenly embrace. Each sunbeam whispers encouragement. In the distance spring's first signs emerge, life breaking free. Moved by a divine nudge I pull out my phone. Each number pressed is a prayer, a step toward reconciliation. Father, my voice cracks as he answers, a bridge forming between us. I listen, the silence heavy but warming. I am here if you'll have me. His reply thaws the distance, a new story rooted in forgiveness and grace begins, where healing mends old wounds. A symbol of light. At dusk I light a lamp by my bedside, its glow a testament to faith enduring. Stars prick the night sky, witnesses to my heart's transformation. vast universe mirrors the soul's journey. From night to day, from death to life, the letters, ridges in my pocket are lines in our story of redemption. The room fills with peace beyond understanding. I kneel, pressing palms together. Holy One, thank you for guiding light. May I walk renewed by your grace and truth. Lord of all compassion, in your light we find our way. Guide us through shadow to the dawn. Heal the scars with your gentle hand. We trust in your eternal love of ruin.
A gentle whisper in the attic. Act I, whispers in the shadows. The late afternoon sun spills through the narrow window of the attic, casting golden patterns on the scattered boxes. Dust motes dance lazily in the air. A gentle reminder of the years that have passed, I kneel among the familiar yet forgotten. The echoes of my husband's laughter still clinging to the worn edges of our life together. The attic, a sacred reservoir of memories, holds fragments of shared joys and whispered dreams. As I sort through the memories, the scent of aging paper and cool wood fills the space, enveloping me in a quiet embrace. The air is charged with a sense of nostalgia, thick and poignant. I find an old hymn book nestled between two boxes, and I pause. The binding is frayed, but the notes within are timeless. Fingertips trace the embossed title, and a breathy hum escapes my lips, carrying the melody of faith through the stillness. It's a comfort, a touch of the divine amidst the clutter. In this solitude, prayer comes like an instinct. Lord of mercy, I whisper my voice, a fragile thing in the quiet. In this slow dance of days and nights, guide me. Show me where to place each step, each box, each memory. My heart listens, yearning for the shepherd of my soul. The prayer wraps around me like a comforting embrace, a quiet lullaby that invites peace into the crevices of my heart. A sudden chime of the doorbell cuts through the introspection, a discord in my symphony of stillness. Startled, I descend the creaking stairs, the hymn book clutched tightly, a talisman of sorts. As I open the door, the sight of my neighbor, Lucy, greets me. Her smile is warm, yet there's a curious hesitance in her eyes, like she is bearing both a gift and a silent plea for companionship. Hello, Miriam, she says, her voice carrying the humble sincerity of friendship. I brought some apple pie. Thought you might like a slice. I thank her, inviting her inside the kitchen. With its faded sunlight and lingering aroma of cinnamon and apples, becomes a haven, a space for fellowship. Yet a part of me clings to solitude, to the attic and its sacred quiet, an inner retreat that has held me gently in the wake of loss. As Lucy talks, her words weave a tapestry of warmth and life. I swallow a growing knot of unease. Here is an invitation into community, a path God gently nudges me toward, yet fear of stepping from the comfort of silence grips me. A prayer trembles on the brink of my consciousness, weaving between Lucy's sentences, whispering of courage and faith. The turning point. The evening light softens as Lucy takes her leave, her warmth lingering even after the door closes. I return to the attic, the hymn book still in hand, its familiar weight a reminder of my husband's presence in every note and line. There, in the fading light, my knees find the floor again. The attic is a cocoon, and I spill my heart into the stillness. Holy One, my heart feels torn between quiet solitude and the call of community. Do I embrace the slow path of connection, risking vulnerability, or cling to the cloak of silence I've known so well? The question lies heavy, its weight a familiar burden. Yet, as I linger in the quiet, a peace starts to unfold within. A gentle whisper seems to brush against my soul, a divine assurance that there is room for both silence and song, solitude and community. I see clearly, the prayer of my heart transforming, courage weaving into my spirit I rise. The hymn book still in my grasp, yet its weight lighter, as if buoyed by unseen hands. The attic, once a retreat, now becomes a springboard into a new chapter. Each memory, a stepping stone toward healing. Days follow gently after one another. Like pearls on a string, I find myself at Lucy's door. The hymn book and a homemade scarf in hand. The scarf a token of gratitude and newfound friendship. The steps to her home are a pilgrimage in themselves, each one echoing with a quiet affirmation from my earlier prayer. She greets me with warmth, and this time, I step inside without hesitation. The lamp in her living room casts a soft glow, reminiscent of the sunlit patterns in my attic. And we sit, pie and tea bridging the gap between our hearts. The room fills with laughter, stories spilling forth like streams of light. And I feel a gentle stirring of hope. In this space, I feel the presence of the Lord, binding us in the gentle grace of shared lives. The decision to choose community does not feel rushed, but rather like the unfolding of a flower, each petal a moment savored, each conversation a step closer to home.